All right, welcome to this demo lesson where we're going to show you how to host a website on Google Cloud Storage. So, like discussed previously in the theoretical lecture, we need to start off by creating a bucket in an appropriate region. Let's do that. Note that we should name the bucket according to the domain name that we're going to use. So I'm going to put in demo.deepdives-eu in now, as that's the domain name that we're going to use. All right. For the location, we're going to select a single region. We're going to select Finland, as that's where we are located. For storage class, because this is a web server, standard makes most sense. Regarding access control, we don't want to enforce public access prevention, and we want uniform access control. We're going to make everything public here. And otherwise, we're just going to click create here. Now, note that it asks us to verify that we're authorized for that. No problem, we can do that. Let's go to name your bucket. And here you can see that we need to verify that we're authorized to use this domain. Click on Learn More. And here is the documentation regarding that. So in case we have this domain name type of bucket name, we need to be a verified owner of that. And here you can see how we can do that. So we open the Search Console. And then we verify the domain name. I'm just going to verify the entire domain. And here you can see the way that we can do this. So we need to set up a text record in the DNS configuration with these values. Okay, I have now added the text record to my domain name server, and let's click verify. And it worked. So now we should be able to create this domain. There we go. It has been created. Next up, we need to upload the files for our content of the website. I'm going to do that. I had a couple of folders I needed to upload. This is a little bit clumsy using the user interface. But not too much of a problem. And then we're uploading the index file as well. There we go. So that's created. Next up, we need to make sure to make all of the contents of our bucket readable to the world, right? So let's take a look at permissions here. And note that there is this public access card here that doesn't currently allow us to do anything except for preventing public access, which is not something that we want to do. And then with regards to access control, we have uniform access control. And again, we could just move to fine-grained, but that's not something that we would want to do. So what we need to do is we need to go down here where we can see the list of existing current permissions. And these are just the standard permissions that are inherited from the project. And what we want to do here is we want to add a new permission for this bucket. And as the principal, we need to add all users. So if you start to type in all users, it'll show you the correct principal. This means now all possible users, authenticated or not. And then as a role, what we want to give them is viewer permissions, right? So we go down to cloud storage, and then storage object viewer, right? That gives read permissions. No conditions required here. We just save that. And note that we're prompted to really confirm that this is what we want to do. Allow public access. Another thing that happens now is that on a public access card, we can now see that the content of the bucket is public to the internet. Okay, cool. So now our objects are publicly accessible. Now, how can we check that? Well, one thing that we could do is take a look at this index.html page, and you can see that it now has a public URL. This is what it looks like. So we can copy this URL to the clipboard, create a new tab, and go there. And voila, it works. You might think that this works only because we're currently logged in. Fair enough. Let's create a new incognito window. So that way we're not logged in anywhere, and use that URL. And it still works, right? So this is truly publicly available. Okay. The URL looks a bit nasty currently. So one of the things that we can do regarding that is change the C name of our domain name to c.storage.googleapis.com. So that's the way that will work. Let me just do that quickly. I'm not going to go there immediately because then possibly the DNS change would not be seen, and that value could be cached. So I want to make sure that it's been propagated before it tried for the first time. Meanwhile, one of the things that we can do is add some default pages for our website. The easiest way to do that is to go down to the bucket itself, over here, demo.deepdives-eu, and then on the right-hand side, on the 3 dots menu, we can edit website configuration. And what we want to return once the naked domain name has been called is an index.html page. And for the error page, I'm just going to put in index.html as well because we don't really have an error page. So now, when we save this, okay, so by now, I hope the domain name has been propagated. So let's go to demo.deepdives-eu. And here you can see that it fetches the index.html automatically. And it'll do the same thing in case we just put some garbage in here. Yeah. So that's how that works. Marvelous.